There's a specific kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with physical activity. You didn't run a marathon. You didn't work a double shift. You didn't carry anything heavy. You just thought all day about everything, about the conversation you had 3 days ago, about the thing you said that came out slightly wrong, about what someone meant when they said that thing in that tone, about what's going to happen next week and whether you're ready for it, about whether you made the right decision 2 years ago, about what people think of you when you're not in the room. By the end of the day, you're completely drained, and nobody around you understands why. Because from the outside, you didn't do anything. Here's what most people assume about people who think too much. They assume it's a choice, that the overthinker could just stop if they really wanted to, that it's a habit they could break with enough discipline, that they're choosing to make things complicated when simple is right there. But that's not what's happening. And the people who live inside this experience know it isn't a choice. It's the way the brain is built. Here's what's actually happening beneath the surface. The overthinker's brain is running a process that most brains run occasionally, but theirs never turns off. Psychologists call this hyperactive default mode network activation. The default mode network is the part of your brain that runs when you're not focused on an external task, when you're in the shower, when you're staring out the window, when you're lying in bed trying to sleep. For most people, this network hums quietly in the background. For the overthinker, it runs at full volume, all the time. It's generating scenarios, replaying conversations, running simulations of things that haven't happened yet, stress testing decisions that were already made. And it does all of this automatically, without being asked, without being able to be stopped by simply deciding to stop. But here's where it gets really interesting. This same system, the one that creates the exhaustion, is also the source of something most people don't talk about when they talk about overthinking. The overthinker's brain is extraordinarily good at certain things. Things that require exactly the kind of deep processing that makes everyday life so exhausting. Detecting problems before they happen. Reading people with unusual accuracy. Thinking through consequences that most people never consider. Holding multiple perspectives simultaneously. Preparing for scenarios that other people walk into blind. The same brain that can't let go of a conversation from 3 days ago is the same brain that notices the thing nobody else noticed. The same brain that replays the interaction on loop is the same brain that understands why the interaction happened in the first place. Psychologists call this depth of processing. And research consistently shows that people with high depth of processing overthinkers score significantly higher on empathy, pattern recognition, and creative problem solving. The exhaustion and the gift come from the same place. But here's the part that most overthinkers spend years getting wrong. They try to fix the thinking. They try to slow it down, stop it, control it, suppress it, and every attempt to suppress the thinking actually increases it. Because the act of trying not to think about something requires you to first think about the thing you're trying not to think about. Psychologists call this the ironic process theory. The more you try not to think about the white bear, the more you think about the white bear. The more you tell yourself to stop replaying the conversation, the more clearly you see it. The more you try to switch off the brain before sleep, the louder it gets. So, what actually works? The first shift is from suppression to redirection. Instead of trying to stop the thinking, give it a direction. The overthinker's brain needs something to do. It's going to process regardless. The question is whether the processing is aimless and anxious or intentional and useful. Writing is one of the most powerful tools for this. Not journaling as emotional venting, but writing as a way of externalizing the loop. When the thought is inside your head, it circles. When the thought is on a page, it has an ending. The brain sees it as processed, filed, finished, and it stops needing to keep it active in the background. The second shift is from problem finding to problem defining. The overthinker's brain is exceptional at finding problems. The skill it often lacks is defining them clearly enough to move past them. Most of the loops that run on repeat are actually underdefined problems. Not real decisions, not real threats, just vague, unresolved questions that the brain keeps returning to because they've never been given a clear frame. When you take the loop and ask, what is the actual question here, the brain often has an answer almost immediately. It just needed the question to be made specific. The third shift is the most important one. Stop treating the depth of your thinking as a flaw. The overthinker has spent years being told directly and indirectly, that the way their brain works is a problem to be fixed. But depth of processing is not a defect. It is a specific kind of intelligence that the world consistently undervalues until it desperately needs it. The person who thinks too much is usually the first to see what's coming, the first to understand what happened, the first to ask the question everyone else was avoiding. You don't think too much. You think at a depth that most people aren't built for. And the work isn't to think less. The work is to learn how to carry what you're built to carry without it carrying you. Word count, 861 words.